Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today I'm on the Herculean path with Michael Del Russi. Greetings, Michael. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm great to be with you this evening.
It's great to be with you as well. You've been doing a lot of research. You shared little hints over last time we talked. Would you care to share your research?
I would, and I'm excited to be able to do so. The first thing I'd like to share is a new study that has been released on glucosamine sulfate. Uh, I think that the benefits of that substance of that supplement continue to draw our attention. There's a new study out concerning its benefits, and from Life Extension Institute, um, and it's surprising to say the least. And I'd like to share what they have found, uh,
That'd be
what the
great.
clinical study, what the clinical studies show. So we're going to get right to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning about that because, as folks probably know by now, our listeners, I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's, and you had indicated that that might have some very positive effects on Parkinson's. So I'm eager to explore it.
Yes. Well, the interesting thing is, it's uh, any condition concerning mobility. It now seems to have some impressive benefit. Let me share the research. It's brand new. More than 5 million people in the U.S. take glucosamine annually, largely to support joint health and ease arthritis pain. Recent findings indicate that this low cost compound may provide a stunning range of additional benefits. In two large observational studies, scientists have found a link between glucosamine use and reduced risk of death from any cause.
Wow.
These, which is pretty amazing. These same studies also found that people taking glucosamine have lower rates of several age-related chronic diseases, including cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, type 2 diabetes, and Parkinson's disease. In addition, glucosamine use was linked to a lower risk of death from major causes such as heart disease, cancer, respiratory, and digestive disorders. Obviously, this is really a stunning bit of research.
Yes,
Um, glucosamine, glucosamine is a compound that acts as a precursor or building block for cartilage, the tissue that protects and conditions the ends of bones at the joints. If I can just add something quickly to that, I only recently was reminded through another study how free radicals can also take their have a severe impact on cartilage and collagen, which, in my opinion, makes collagen supplementation also well worth it. But we'll go on. It is commonly taken to maintain joint health and prevent or reduce the severity of osteoarthritis. Again, there we are. That's powerful as well. Clinical trials have confirmed glucosamine's effectiveness in arthritis, whether taken alone or with chondroitin, another nutrient often used for joint health. And usually glucosamine is combined with that anyway. For example, a systematic review of studies found significantly reduced pain in those with knee osteoarthritis compared to a placebo. I go on. Though glucosamine is usually taken for joint health, Scientists conducted large observational studies, made a striking discovery with its use concerning Parkinson's and a reduced risk of overall mortality. With Parkinson's, balance was a major issue.
Yes.
Glucosamine in a population of 77,510 individuals, targets from 50 to 76, in a year has found that there was a significant improvement in the maintaining of normal balance with regular use of glucosamine. Kitty, I'm reading. My kitty cannot stay off my lap. Forgive me for this. No, come on. Come on.
Okay, my puppy's been on and off my lap all evening also.
I didn't know you had a puppy.
Yes, we have two puppies. One is my wife's puppy and follows her around. The other one's my puppy and follows me around.
Well, where did you acquire them?
She's a Chihuahua, and we acquired them both from the animal shelter in the Ronkonkoma.
Wonderful. Where was that?
In Jersey. On our way to Passaic, we went there, and we got my wife's dog, and then a month or two later we got my dog, and her name is Sophia, and she's a Chihuahua, and she's very protective of me.
That's great. I love them.
Yes, she protects me from the other people in the house, from passing pedestrians out there. So she's always on the alert and always looking out for me.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. The greatest love on earth.
Yep.
I believe comes from animals. Anyway, one population study followed 77,510 individuals between the age of 60 79 from 5 to 8 years, found that regular use of glucosamine with or without chondroitin had an 18% lower risk of deaths from any cause than those who did not use glucosamine.
So
in another large study, yes, I'm sorry.
Usually it's sold with chondroitin in the stores, so you don't need the chondroitin to get the benefits. Am I understanding that correctly?
Right. You don't need it. It's a benefit, but no, you don't absolutely need it. This focuses mainly on glucosamine exclusively, but there's no harm, in my opinion, of adding the chondroitin. But yeah, you can just use the glucosamine by itself. In another large study, analysis data from the U.S. National Health and Nutritional Examination Survey found that those taking glucosamine and chondroitin had a remarkable 27% lower risk of all-cause mortality after controlling for multiple other factors that could affect risk of death. A large observational study evaluating the effect of glucosamine on mortality was conducted using data from the UK Biobank and followed approximately 495,077 individuals to an average of about 9 years. The analysis revealed a 15% reduction in the risk of all-cause mortality among glucosamine users compared to non-users. Obviously, this is not only a large research study, but an exciting one as well, to say the least.
Yes.
Lower disease risk. Studies have also found that glucosamine, along with apparently improving the balance of many specific disorders, those suffering from many specific orders and cause of death. For example, in the Washington State study, those taking glucosamine had a 13% lower risk of death from cancer and a 41% lower risk of death from respiratory diseases. In 2025, so obviously this is all fresh research, another analysis of glucosamine supplementation data was published. This one also from the UK Bank. Over 52,500 glucosamine users were compared to the same number of non-users and followed for nearly 14 years. Regular glucosamine use was associated with 8 to 27% lower risk of 7 different age-related chronic diseases, including dementia, Parkinson's, and osteoarthritis. In the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, study regular glucosamine users were 58% less likely to die of cardiovascular cause compared to non-users. This is the first time I've been aware that glucosamine may have had such a tremendous impact on heart disease. So this is truly exciting. These findings align with other large observational studies. The UK Biobank study and related analysis have shown that regular glucosamine use is linked to lower mortality and reduced risk of several chronic diseases. 18 to 22% lower risk of cardiovascular disease, cardiovascular mortality, 26% lower risk of respiratory disease and mortality, 26% lower risk of digestive system disease mortality, which is something that I've been dealing with quite a bit, especially lately. 18% lower risk of coronary artery disease, 17% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes, 16% lower risk of developing any type of dementia, any type,
Wow.
including 60, pretty powerful, right? 15% lower risk of Alzheimer's and 26% lower risk of vascular dementia. That's a very powerful dementia. One of my aunts passed away from that. And that's a type of dementia that's even more severe than the one we're accustomed to hearing about. 9% lower risk of stroke and 6% lower risk of cancer mortality. You know, it never ceases to amaze me. If I could just stop for a minute. I spend most of my days, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, communicating with cancer patients on the internet. And what's striking to me is the number of young people who are posting videos on the internet fighting life-threatening cancer. Most of it appears to be colon cancer. I'm sure we've all heard in the recent, I would say, year and a half, that reasons that, according to mainstream media, are still unknown. The rise of colon cancer patients among young people is steadily on the rise. And while we all know that with cancer, there's never any guarantees for any of us. Anything that would slow the process or stop the process of these rebellious cells is certainly worth looking into. I have other theories as well. I proposed a theory, I think, on the air on this program as long ago as, I think, 5 years now, that it was the kind of diet that is being encouraged amongst our young people these days that may be a contributing factor. But be that as it may, I think it's more than just coincidence, but that's for another time. Glucosamine's role in building cartilage, here's something very critical, has been well understood for years, but the link to reduced mortality and disease risk in observational studies led researchers to evaluate its other effects in the body. Animal studies found that glucosamine may work in a number of ways to exert anti-aging effects, including activated AMPK. Those of us who are a little familiar with how cellular vitality works. No, that's part of it. Is an enzyme that acts as a master regulator of cellular metabolism. In preclinical studies, glucosamine has been shown to help activate AMPK, increase mitochondrial biogenesis, a pathway associated with improved metabolic health and longevity, improving blood glucose levels. Elevated blood sugar can lead to type 2 diabetes and other metabolic diseases and contribute to accelerated aging in aging mice. Glucosamine intake has been shown to lower blood glucose levels, which may reduce metabolic diseases associated with aging, mimicking a restricted caloric diet. Restricting caloric intake activates pathways in our metabolism that have anti-aging effects. For years, it's been recommended by many longevity experts that the period of intermittent fasting can also contribute to our health. In animal models, glucosamine intake mimics some of the effects of caloric restriction, which has been linked to a longer lifespan in rodents, enhancing mitochondrial health. I think this is critically important. The mitochondria are the powerhouse that supplies the energy which cells need to function optimally. Declining mitochondrial function is a major hallmark of aging in animal models as well as human. Glucosamine helps boost mitochondrial function. And they have the laboratory papers, the numbers here to validate that. Improving protein balance. Animal studies indicate that glucosamine helps cells maintain an optimal level balance between protein synthesis and breakdown. In both worms and mice, added glucosamine or its related nutrient production to the diet has been shown to slow aging and extend lifespan. This is just precious information here. A 2025 study found 20% reduced risk of sudden cardiac arrest. Amazing. In glucosamine supplement users in the United Kingdom as well as the U.S. Approximately 19.1% of the participants in 2020 study reported regular use of glucosamine supplements. The large data set indicates that nearly 1 in 5 individuals in the United Kingdom, as an example, regularly use glucosamine. I'd like to take a moment to say that this research is so amazing that I think everybody who is not taking this supplement should certainly do so. It's so widely available to us, and it certainly can obviously contribute to our overall mortality. In a clinical setting, yes, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I've been researching since you mentioned, and there are a lot of different studies, some contradicting others, but it looks like, again, it's definitely worth exploring, and it is an inexpensive vitamin or mineral, so it's well worth picking up. And for new listeners, neither Michael nor I are health professionals, although we've been focused on health for our entire lives. And we're more like gym buddies who are always looking out for ways to enjoy optimal wellness for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. So we exchange information, we research, we try things out, and then we report back our results. And so we invite you to look into all the information that Michael is now sharing, and you might decide to try it out yourself. You might decide not to, but that's your decision. But this is our process of learning from each other, and I'm glad we could welcome people to it.
Absolutely, and that's what very well said. We're amateur researchers. We are not physicians. We are not prescribing anything. We're only sharing what we are experiencing in our lives and how we're dealing with our own personal challenges. Because I just read a study also that anyone from 50 to 70 onward, regardless of their athletic endeavors, their careful lifestyle in terms of maintaining muscular health and overall well-being, is probably going to experience some type of osteoarthritis and a challenge to their mobility in their lifetime. I recently read this in one of in a research manual, and it made me stop short and realize that I guess there was a time in my life, in my 30s and 40s, that when I became very determined to be the best I could be physically, that this would never happen to me. Lo and behold, that was not the case. I suffer from stiffness in the legs, occasional balance issues, and severe paralyzing arthritis in my shoulders. So anything that can assist me from a natural standpoint, as well as a conventional, I think is certainly worth trying. And this very extensive research on glucosamine, and you're very correct. Prior to this latest research, I have read contradictory reports on glucosamine. By that meaning, some say there was no effect at all. Some say there was a slight improvement. But this latest research indicates to me personally, on an instinctual level, that, again, it's up to us, our divine intuition and decision-making in terms of how much to use, when to use it, and when we think we are noticing some results. So that is all part of our personal, ongoing Olympian journey, if you will. I say Olympian because we're determined to challenge these adversaries in any way we can.
And mythically, during the quest for the golden apples of the Hesperides, which, like the golden fleece, is a symbol of restoration and optimal health, there's a serpent called Ladon. And Ladon, called the dragon. In fact, snakes and dragons were considered to be the same thing in ancient Greece. But he has 11 heads, and each head speaks about something different. So when you're trying to research these things, it's often like having the 100 heads of Ladon, each sharing different information that contradicts what the other head told you. And that becomes the Herculean task of all people seeking optimal wellness, to try to make sense out of the differences of opinion and to try to listen to the right expert, because you will encounter that, and that's not going to go away. You're going to have industries telling you that the under industries are out to get you for in one way or another, or lie to you or rip you off. And you have all these conspiracy theories, and some of them are based on verifiable information, some of them aren't. Some of them is in line with what people in World Health Organizations have found and are sharing, and some of it isn't. So you have to make the best decision that you can make. And I'll share with people, and I think I'll be sharing it every time we have a show on health, is that doing the healthiest thing, I wound up exacerbating my body to the point where it developed the type 2 diabetes. I was I believe in my 40s, and like Michael, I didn't think any of this was going to apply to me because I was taking good care of myself, and I bigger. And I lived in Pennsylvania, and my basement was a gym, and I picked up all sorts of inexpensive exercise equipment. I had universal machines, I had leg press machines, I had squat racks, I had all sorts of things, and I didn't want to take any chemicals aside from vitamins. So I asked the question, what did bodybuilders do before steroids? And maybe if I did what they did, I could get big as some of them. So I looked up bodybuilders who I wanted to emulate and find out what type of diets they were on and what type of exercises they were doing. And I found that one of the secrets that they had that had come out was drinking milk in large quantities and eating oranges in large quantities. So even though I was lactose intolerant, and it took me a while to build up enough resistance to drink a lot of milk, for over a year, I was drinking like a gallon of milk plus a day, and I was eating six,
Wow.
oranges, and I knew nothing about
Hmm.
watching blood sugar or anything. And I felt and looked,
Hmm.
I was most muscular than I've been for much of my lifetime, and I was strong, and I was doing all this impressive weightlifting, and I was really happy until I started falling downstairs. Then
Hmm.
the muscles I built up slowly started to disappear, and I was having a very difficult time with my strength. And we went to a doctor because I was getting chills. And I was looking horrible, even though I had been exercising and dieting and all this. And I found out that I had type 2 diabetes. And the reason for the type 2 diabetes was excessive amounts of sugar. And milk has a lot of sugar, and oranges have a lot of sugar. And even though they're natural
Hmm.
sugars, the amount that I was eating
Hmm.
every single day was great. And at the time, I was
Hmm.
drinking protein shakes, and they
Hmm.
have sugar in them. So now the protein I drink doesn't. But back then, I didn't know any better. I got the weight gaining and the strength building protein shakes that were very high in milk sugars and so on. So I
Hmm.
had to learn how to eat to get my sugar under control, and that took a very long time too, and a lot of stops and starts. But by trying to do the right thing and trying to follow a healthy diet, I wound up becoming unhealthy. So we're all different in how our body reacts, and my body obviously didn't react very well under the pre-steroid bodybuilding diet, but I did it with the best of intentions. So with all the things that we're talking about, again, research it till you're satisfied that it's the right thing for you to do. And then if you're of a mind, try it out and let us know what happens.
Absolutely. And it's wonderful to hear your own personal story and the challenges that you faced in your quest to become an Olympian and be the very best that you can be. I know I read an article, a short article by a bodybuilder. He wasn't exactly world famous, but you may have heard of a gentleman during the 70s by the name of Annibal Lopez.
Yes, I
I don't
remember.
know if you
Yes,
remember him. He described his hit and miss program as well, and he said he drank a lot of the protein supplements that were popular in that day. Weeder, Hoffman put out quite a bit of supplement, quite a number of supplements. Quite frankly, back in the day, a lot of the Hoffman supplements I found to be okay, not too bad. The weight gain powder was tasty. He had something called
hmm
Energol, which was like it was wheat germ oil. Wheat germ oil was very popular, as you probably remember,
and,
during the day.
and liver tablets.
Absolutely, liver tablets were almost like considered almost like the fountain of youth.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely. Liver tablets, you take
yeah.
them.
Hmm. Absolutely, very popular. And he said, but he had suffered from actually over consumption of protein. He said he began to feel and an underconsumption of carbohydrates. He began to feel shaky in a lot of his workouts, not feeling strong at all. At times, he couldn't even begin a training session. When he increased his carbohydrates, because at that time, high fat and low carbohydrate, as you may remember, was the way to go. The higher
Right.
the fat, the better. You know, fat was everything in terms of putting on size and then cutting down when you want to get in Olympian shape, so to speak. The long story short is he found that when he increased his carbohydrates, his strength dramatically increased. The moral behind that is once again your journey is definitely shows one aspect of our quest. Mr. Lopez, his journey showed a slightly different road to success, if you will, a hit and miss experience that, of course, we are all subject to. So that's very interesting. He said a lot of the protein supplements he used, Hoffman's weren't too bad, but some of them, I think Weeder was mentioned as one, tasted like chalk. He said, and was a little hard to consume on a regular basis. But it just goes to we have come a long way as far as dietary supplementation. We really have. In terms of weight gain powders, protein supplements, we've definitely come a long way. So I have to give the nutritional industry credit on that level. But
Yep.
in continuing with the this vital information here, in a clinical setting, a 28-day randomized controlled trial found that 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine, along with 1,200 milligrams per day of chondroitin, lowered levels of the inflammatory marker C-reactive protein. This just sets me back on my heels by 23% in healthy overweight adults. I can't tell you how enthusiastic I am when it comes to the absolute essential need to add C-reactive protein to your regular blood work. And here's my experience, so let me share it with you.
Sure.
It's not usually part of your CBC. Your doctor will probably not recommend it. Your physician, unless you're suffering from something severely inflammatory or immune, will not recommend it. But I had a personal relationship with a biochemist who traveled around the world. He lived at Hawthorne Towers in Montclair, where I had worked. And he said this to me, and I'll never forget it. He said, look, let me tell you something. He said, get C-reactive protein checked every year along with your SED rate. Now, I think your SED rate is ESR something. You can look that up. But it's ESR. But ask your doctor, you want your SED rate and your C-reactive protein checked on a yearly basis. He said, and I'll tell you something. The chances of you developing any inflammatory disease, including cancer, is next to nil. He said, I'm just telling you that. He was from overseas. I think he was from Russia. I'm not sure. And I remember this man, I will never forget, leaving. I mean, this guy was traveling around the world. I felt kind of sorry for him because his pace was unbelievable. He'd be leaving with his luggage. I said, where are you going this time? And we started to have talks about nutritional therapy and what have you. He said, ask your doctor for those two tests. He said, that's what I'm here to tell you. So I'm here to tell everyone, as an amateur researcher, add your C-reactive protein blood level check. It's not that expensive in terms of a blood test. Your doctor probably won't tell you about it. Your average physician probably won't. Someone who's just a regular MD or a primary care clearly will not recommend it. But I recommend these two tests for everyone. Check your SED rate, which was important to me because my father passed away from a significantly horrific autoimmune disease, and I watched him, and I wouldn't wish this obviously on anyone. And have your C-reactive protein checked. This is advice, by the way. I'm going to say this boldly because I think it needs to be said. You probably aren't going to hear too much on a month-to-month basis or a year-to-year basis, notwithstanding who you're seeing in the medical profession. This has been my experience. They're probably not going to tell you, well, yeah, get your CD. Probably not going to tell you that. I'm telling you, I'm telling everyone within the sound of my voice, as an amateur researcher, I'm suggesting C-reactive protein, have your sed rate checked. Let me share some more very valuable information. And this again, let me reread this one more time because it's that important. In a clinical setting, a 28-day randomized controlled trial found that 1,500 milligrams per day of glucosamine, along with 1,200 milligrams per day of chondroitin, lowered levels of this inflammatory marker C-reactive protein by 23% in healthy overweight adults. These studies support the idea that glucosamine may provide benefits beyond joint health. Population studies suggest it could have a broader body-wide effects, but clinical trials are needed to confirm further its impact on mortality and disease risk. Now, the summary. Glucosamine is commonly used to help support joint cartilage health and clinical trials. They have found long-term use may help reduce pain in those suffering from osteoarthritis, Parkinson's disease. Scientists have also found an association between glucosamine use and a lower risk of death in large observational studies. Several different observational studies have also shown that people taking glucosamine have a reduced risk of death due to specific illnesses like cardiovascular disease, cancer, respiratory diseases, along with a lower risk of developing coronary heart disease, dementia, type 2 diabetes, and other diseases. Thus ends this expansive research on glucosamine sulfate. This is brand new from the Life Extension Institute. They refer to many sources, and then so the listeners will know, there's a reference list here, which is almost too long to repeat, and I'm not going to do that. But the reference list is from laboratories and university studies, literally all over the world. China, Russia, the United States, they don't just publish information and leave it at that. They give you the references. In short, in conclusion, where we're talking about glucosamine, I would recommend everyone give it a chance, give it a powerful chance, give it a meaningful chance in your life. The problem with many Americans, as we probably know, is they want instant results. You can get instant results from conventional medicine, that's true. But the long-term effects of so many conventional therapies are not very pleasant, either in terms of the kidneys, especially the kidneys, and liver function. Glucosamine, based on what we're reading here from the Life Extension Foundation, dedicate themselves to the science of a healthier life. There's 42 physicians, osteopaths, and chiropractors on staff. This is not a new organization, been around forever. In fact, they, just so listeners know, this was the first organization, the first to uncover the breakthrough information that aspirin may prevent certain heart attacks and strokes. They were the first. They broke the research. They were the first ones to do so way back when. I think it's about 30 years at this point. There's other information that I want everyone, everywhere, to be aware of. This is a new study, which I will talk on a later program. The further research concerning aspirin. Let me say this. Aspirin can be, like Bayer, the manufacturer, has advertised. They had to pull it because the EPA didn't like the way they worded it. Can be a miracle drug. There's further research to validate this. And it makes sense because aspirin lowers inflammation in the body with minimal side effects. You have to be careful if you have a bleeding issue, but beyond that, minimal side effects. I'm back to taking an aspirin a day. In fact, I'm taking 1.5 per day until further notice, until my divine intuition tells me otherwise, because I'm so convinced at this stage that aspirin does far more good than it can do any harm in preventing a number of diseases. So life extension, they were at the forefront of this research. They were the first. So I have complete confidence when they share information. And if they say, well, we don't know yet, more studies are needed, they will tell you in the research that they present to us. So that is the story on glucosamine sulfate. I recommend to everyone that they explore glucosamine, explore the possibilities of it, and what it can do in terms of overall health. As far as dosages, of course, there'll always be, you can follow the instructions on the bottle, but it can also be a matter of intuition and instinct. What do you think? How are you progressing? How are your aches and pains? I have noticed over the last month, by the way, this is personal experience, that the pain in my shoulders is less.
Oh,
And
great.
that's a major, it seems, I don't know why. And then I'm sitting, I said, wait a minute, you're taking a fairly high dose, 4 capsules of glucosamine every day. Could there be a relation? Well, I don't know. I do know this. I'm back to working my deltoids with moderate to light weight, and I'm not experiencing the pain that I did, say, 4 months ago, since I left the hospital.
Great. That is great.
Yeah, so something has changed. Something, I'll be seeing my own personal physician this month, and I'll share all of this with him. But here we are again. We are the warriors. We are the Olympians. Gather all the information that you can, conventional and holistic. And then this is part of the adventure. It's not a job. It's an adventure. It's a calling for all of us, because we are so submerged in information. I had to go get off the phone the other day because I noticed that, and this is the painful part for me. It's something that I've been called so passionately to do since the days of Carlton Fredericks. I'm very concerned with the rates of metastatic diseases these days, because they can tell us what they want, but it doesn't appear to me like we're really winning the battle that we really need to. This is serious. We need to do everything we can, and nobody's immune, including me. And, there's no guarantees when it comes to these diseases. But if we can keep inflammation low, keep toxicity low, just those two things, just those two aspects of life, I think we can already go a long way in reducing the effects of metastatic diseases. And I do. In fact, the lady who fostered my cat, this wonderful lady, she's suffering from a metastatic disease for a while. She said, well, what do you know? I just sent her what my recommendations would be. My recommendations would be simply this, to myself or anyone. The minute you are released from conventional therapy, if you decide to go that route, get yourself on an immune-enhancing program, including especially lowering inflammation, raising T-cell response on a regular basis, and we know what supplements can do that, and doing everything you can. Those two areas, your doctor's not going to tell you, chances are. Your targeted physician, your specialist, is not going to tell you, chances are. But I am going to tell you, as an amateur researcher, because somebody's life somewhere can be extended, improved, or be more tolerable by following these really simple practices. So that's what I have to say there. I think this information has been extraordinary, and I would encourage everyone, get on your glucosamine sulfate. Do your own research. Play this program back. The information that Hercules and I share on these programs and his other guests, as far as I'm concerned, in one form or another, are invaluable because it doesn't come from everywhere and it's not available everywhere. And that's all I'd like to say on that issue.
Thank you for sharing all that information. I certainly have enough now to research until our next conversation. I'll be trying the glucosamine as soon as I make my next vitamin supplement order, and I'll report back my results. And I'm moving into exploring certain things, and you mentioned them in terms of longevity, in terms of toxicity, in terms of inflammation. So I was going to suggest to you that we develop regular segments on those. So you brought it up without my having done so. So that's good. We're on the same wave. And so we'll devote future programs to that. And also, if you have the time, if you could make, I chronicled your show in my Facebook group on optimal wellness, where I share what I'm doing and my exercise, my diet, and stuff like that. If you can put links to the research that you're presenting, this way it'll be there for anybody who wants to look it up, make it easy for them.
Okay, I will make every attempt to do that. And thank you for that. In our search, in our future programs, I have information to share, brand new studies, because they're sent to me on a regular basis on olive oil and its benefits, and also zinc, which enhances glucose control. Brand new. Zinc and glucose control. So in our future studies, I'd certainly like to cover that. But
I can get Moroccan olive oil with the high, there's something that's supposed to be high in. I got the highest there because one of the people in my local group that comes over to my home when I have my classes, he turned me on to, resuming my affection for olive oil. I'm Greek, so it's a very part of my growing up, so I'm incorporating that back into my daily diet. And so I'm looking forward to reporting everything in this group. And do you still have the group for Bold Spirits Holistic Concepts on Facebook?
Yeah, they can go on my. Well, that page is usually not used by me.
Okay.
They can contact me on Michael Del Russi Facebook, or they can message me. So and I will get right back to them. My Bold Spirits page is still in existence, but because of the way my phone works, I'm not able to access it like I would like to on a regular basis.
Oh, I see.
So and I don't know if you have the same issue, but so right now, just I encourage everyone, message me, Michael Del Russi, at Facebook, and I will certainly get back to you with any new research that I'm going to start being more aggressive in this respect. Will be published right there on my Facebook page. So Michael Del Russi Facebook is the way to go right now. But Bold Spirits Holistic Concepts is the terminology in terms of what I do. And I just don't have an active Facebook page with that title at the moment. I'm hoping to fix that situation, however. So just go to my Facebook page, and we should be good.
Okay, that's fantastic. And you've also published books on dietary practices, and you've published a book on poetry. How can people find those and read those?
I have a life extension program for diet and nutritional supplementation, sharing my own concepts, and that's $10 a copy. It's well worth it. It's a manual, and you can write to me at Michael Del Russi, 135 Hazel Street, apartment 7E, in Clifton, New Jersey, 07011. My poetry and art collection is also available. I think it opens exciting pathways to further consciousness and further places of exploration. I'm very proud of it. And that's called One Passion Beyond. And our passion at the end of the day is utilizing mythology and creative mind and every aspect that is available to us to explore the fourth dimension, which is available to us in the here and now. One Passion Beyond, there's poems in there about the afterlife, about a UFO experience, and just about everything you can think of is touched in terms of topic. So each one is $10 a piece, available to Michael Del Russi, 135 Hazel Street, Apartment 7E, in Clifton, New Jersey, 07011. And I honor and bless all the listeners this evening. It's been very exciting.
And you also have a ministry that helps people with prayers and healing and nutritional information. Can you share a little bit about that and how people can tap into that?
Absolutely. Simply write to me. I believe energy is bilocal. We know energy is bilocal. In Oriental medicine, we know it's bilocal. Chinese, Japanese, and what have you. We know Qi and Qi, and it's all interrelated. And I believe that as well, as focus and energy is something that's still very much neglected in our spiritual walk and our daily walk. It's right there available to us. It's right there to be touched and used. So send your prayer requests to the same address. Write them down. I will pray over them. I will send white light, and I will write you back.
Michael, thank you very much. You're a good friend, and you're an awesome individual. I'm glad that we're on this path together and exchanging information, and I look forward, as always, to our next interaction. I wish you success in all your endeavors, and I will talk to you very soon.
Thank you. You are a champion, and I'm so blessed, and I know the listeners are so blessed to have the channels that you've opened up to us available to share our own personal journeys. Thank you so much. There's not enough ways to applaud everything you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, and to those listening in, until next time, this is us wishing you joyous journeys and amazing adventures. Hope everybody has a good night, and may 2026 treat you all wonderfully. Good night.
Good night, everyone.